Yo, what's going on, everybody? GZTV back with another video. It is Monday. It is about 11:20. I gotta go to class in 20 minutes, so I'm gonna get this NBA video out real quick. We're gonna talk about the 7 NBA games that happened last night and some big storylines in the NBA. As my Celtics are the beasts of the East. They have beat out the Heat, and they are atop the East after beating the Timberwolves. I'm so happy about this. They're definitely a title contender after this. People can't doubt that anymore. We've had such a good 2022 so far. One of the best starts of a year I've seen from the Celtics in a while. But let's just get into the game. Celtics beat the Timberwolves by 22. We beat a 43-33 team by 22. We take over the top spot in the East. We're just a dominant team, and prayers up for Robert Williams. I hope he's good, because we're going to need him in the playoffs. Let's just rest him until the playoffs. But looking at what the Timberwolves did, really, you had 24 points for Anthony Edwards. I mean, again, D'Angelo Russell's definitely had a decline in recent games. I don't think he really played that good, but I'm talking about my Celtics. I'm obviously a fan of the Celtics, so I'm more excited about Jason Tatum putting up 34. Before Robert Williams got hurt in 24 minutes, he is one of the most efficient centers in the league, undoubtedly. He had 13 and 10. Obviously, Jokic is the most. And Jaylen Brown at 31 and 10. Tatum and Jaylen Brown repeatedly putting up 30 plus each in a night. It's not easy for two players on the same team to do that, but they've definitely established something. Udoka definitely has some sort of game plan. Let's move on to Knicks and Pistons. Alec Burks and RJ Barrett lead the Knicks past the Pistons by 2. Alec Burks had a clutch steal, and that pretty much won them the game. Shout out to him. This is a team you should easily beat, but I guess that wasn't the case. Looking at the winners, though, the victors, we had 20 points for Julius Randle, 21 for RJ Barrett, so pretty good chemistry between those two. Looking at the Pistons, we saw Marvin Bagley put up 27. He continues to play amazing. And Isaiah Stewart at 10 and 10. Corey Joseph maybe could have done a little more. Maybe if he got into double digits like the rest of the starters, they might have won the game. There's not really much the Pistons could have done. The Knicks are just a better team. That's just that. Let's just move on to Warriors and Wizards. Wow, Warriors lost this game. Wizards hand their Warriors the 5th loss in 6 games. They have not been looking good. They beat them by 8. Warriors don't have Curry, but I think they still have other guys. They have guys that can win them basketball games. 23 points for Wiggins, 25 for Klay Thompson. My boy Jordan Poole. I'm in my fantasy championship, and Jordan Poole is one of those main reasons. He had 26, 11 for 14 for Porter off the bench. I guess you could attribute this for Kuminga playing slower than usual. I don't know. Curry's out. You can't really blame him. Wizards played good, though. 25 for Corey Kispert. Corey Kispert's been playing not too bad lately. Kristaps Porzingis had 23, and KCP ended up with 22. Moving on to the Sixers and the Suns. The Suns cannot be stopped, man. Booker has 35 points. Suns beat the Sixers for their 8th win in a row. Probably one of the most dominant teams in the NBA in the last 5 years, ever since that 72-9 Warriors team, I believe it was. But Sixers played pretty damn good. I mean, Joel Embiid had 37 and 15. Harden didn't play as high as a level, but I'm putting this on like Matisse Thybulle. Matisse Thybulle definitely needs to have a stronger effort moving forward. I'm not putting this on James Harden at all. Suns are just undeniably good. You know, DeAndre Ayton comes out and puts up 14 and 12. Chris Paul came out and put up 19 and 14. Devin Booker put up 35. Devin Booker is getting better and better and better as the season progresses. And that big three that we all know and love is finally back and getting wins. Even though without Chris Paul, they still had an amazing record. Lakers Pelicans. What is an NBA night anymore without the Lakers losing? Ingram scores 26 in his return. That's nice to see Brandon Ingram return to that lineup. That's exactly what the Pelicans need to stay in the play-in. Pelicans beat the Lakers by 8. I'm going to look at the standings here in a little bit, because every single game matters. Every single night matters. We're going to have standing changes on standing changes. But looking at the Lakers, LeBron had 39. And Malik Monk had 23. I think Austin Reeves scoring 0 in 20 minutes, it's safe to say him scoring 10 would have definitely helped tonight. I mean, that's a little heavy on Reeves, but it is what it is. Ingram put up 26. Valanciunas put up 19 and 12. And shout out to Murphy off the bench. I think his name's Trey Murphy. Is that right? Trey Murphy, 21 off the bench. Shout out to him for sure. Let's just move on from there. Hornets and Pelicans, we have Hornets and Nets, sorry. 2 more games to cover for the night. Ball scores 33 points as Hornets spoiled Irving's home debut. That was another big headline because although Kyrie didn't play like fantastic, it's nice to see that he's going to be able to play every single game for the rest of the season, assuming injuries don't happen. So maybe the Nets can break through and make it in the playoffs instead of having to go through extra games, because that really sucks for a team this good to have to play extra games to make the playoffs. But looking at the Hornets, PJ Washington 18 and 11, 24 for Bridges, 33 for LaMelo. Looking at the Nets, you had a 27-point performance for KD, 20 and 17 for Drummond. What a game! 16 and 11 for Kyrie. Really not much you can attribute this loss to. I think the Nets played pretty damn good. Kyrie could have maybe scored 20 to 25. Maybe that's the issue. I don't know. I can't really blame anyone on the Nets singularly for losing that game. Let's move on to Jazz Mavericks. Doncic and the Mavs topped the Jazz by 14 for inside track to home court. I'm not gonna lie, the Jazz played horrible. The Jazz did not play good at all. This was one of their worst games, really. 6 points for Royce O'Neal. Again, Royce O'Neal, I'm constantly coming for you because you can't score 6 points in 29 minutes no matter what your role is on the team. I don't know. But looking at the Mavericks, 23 for Reggie Bullock, great three-point shooter in this league, man, no doubt. 22 and 10 for Jalen Brunson, and 32 and 10 for Luka Doncic. The guards, this 2 starting guards had 20 combined rebounds, while the rest of the starting lineup, counting, it's all the front court. The front court is kind of a weird one. The front court had 12 rebounds combined, 3 people that are taller. Well, Luka's pretty tall, but I don't know. It's a strange one. But those are the games. I'm going to get into the standings real quick, just kind of see what's going on here. So, looking at the Eastern Conference, the Nets are 3rd in the play-in, so they're going to be playing Atlanta. But they need to, they're 4, I don't know, man, it's going to be hard. They're 3.5 games out of the play-in. I mean, they're 6 games into the play-in, but they're 3.5 games out of the playoffs, so I don't know. I think our top 10 is pretty much established. I don't see the Nets really, or the Knicks going far there, but the Knicks and Washington remain the only 2 teams that aren't in the play-in or the playoffs that still have a chance. Looking at the Western Conference, a little more competition over here. The Lakers are only 1 game in the play-in. San Antonio might steal that from them. That's ridiculous, okay? But then again, there's 3 teams outside of the playoffs that can contend. The Lakers are 12.5 games out of the playoffs. Pretty soon, they're not going to be able to